Wednesdays, but this is going to be one of those weeks where it's going to be catch as catch can, whether it be players, whether it be anybody from the athletic department or on the coaching staff. He is Brian Dutcher, the associate head coach and the head coach in waiting, who joins us now for a couple minutes on a Monday. Dutch, good to talk to you.
Darren, good to be back.
I appreciate the time as always. I just wonder what it was like there yesterday. I know we had talked about it last week about what it's like, Selection Sunday, getting prepared for that. What's it actually like when you sit there and you're watching? How nervous are you even after all these years of doing it?
Well, I wasn't as nervous this year, obviously, because we kind of felt we were in. Some years you watch and you're wondering if you're even going to be in. So that felt good knowing we were going to be in the field.
You know, it's funny. I saw something with Bob Knight yesterday, and I don't know if you had a chance to see this, but Bob Knight was asked about how he approached Selection Sunday, and he said, I went fishing. I went and played golf. I didn't really pay attention to it. And he really, I thought, gave an interesting opinion about how sometimes people can get wrapped up in feeling one way or the other or expressing emotions about the seeding that they get. I don't know, after all these years, do you think that too much gets put into the seeding and the questions that you deal with and the answers that a lot of people give about what seed you get for the tournament?
The seeding's always interesting. You sit there and you wonder how Colorado State finished ahead of us in the conference and ended up below us in the seeding. And some of the Pac-12 seedings, unless you're in the room, you really don't know what their thoughts are. So you don't worry as much about the seed, Darren, as how the style of play of the team you're playing matches what you do. And so that's kind of more of a concern than where your seed actually is.
It's funny you brought up Colorado State because, the first bracket, the first region that was announced was the Midwest region. And Colorado State was the first school that I saw them play they got the 8th seed. They're going to play Missouri, the 8-9 matchup. And I said, man, I did the same thing that sounds like you did. I wondered what that meant for you guys. And I thought for sure you guys would be at least an 8 or a 9 or possibly even a 10. When you saw Colorado State, what did you think about yourselves?
I thought we'd probably be a 9, an 8 or a 9. If they were an 8, I thought we couldn't be any higher than them. And our overall schedule and strength of schedule and the teams we beat helped us, but they played a good schedule too. And so you really don't know our RPI number and all those numbers. Who knows what goes into what? But I thought we'd be a little higher, so when we came up with 7, I was real pleased with that.
And I get the sense, too, that beating UCLA has really been a big deal for you guys. I mean, I think if there's one game you could point out on the schedule here, with all due respect to the conference play and the conference wins that you guys had, if there's one game here that really helped you guys out all season long, it was the win against UCLA.
Absolutely, because they were the Pac-12 regular season champion, that every time they won a game, it helps our resume. So it's good to play those competitive games early. If you win it, then it really helps you down the road. And so the UCLA game definitely was our strongest non-conference win.
We're talking to Brian Dutcher at San Diego Sports Leader. The Mighty 1090 Aztecs going to play Oklahoma coming up on Friday. Well, as of the moment where it's announced and you find out where you're going to go, who you're going to play, if I were to ask you, what do you know about Oklahoma basketball? What could you have told me yesterday at this time?
Lon Kruger, a guy that we've played against a long time head coach at UNLV. Outstanding coach. We've met a number of times, and so you kind of get a feeling that, having played Lon at UNLV, that their defense is going to be aggressive, it's going to be tough, and then you start watching tape and try to see what he's doing offensively, if it's similar to what he used to run at Vegas.
Can you really? I mean, that's literally the way it goes. That you prepare for a coach more than you prepare for a player, or is it about equal 50-50?
Well, I think it was a comfort level knowing that most coaches don't change a whole lot. And Lon has always been an exceptional defensive coach. His teams play hard. They play aggressive. They play physical. And a lot of the offense we run to this day is a direct result of having to play Lon when he was at Vegas, just trying to make entries into set plays that you could make against everybody else in the conference you couldn't make against Lon's teams. So some of the sets we have in is a direct result of Lon Kruger being the head coach at Vegas.
So if I were to put on, let's say, a DVD of Oklahoma, and I know some of your players have already been prepared on this, I mean, would it look like what I would see in Vegas when he was the head coach there, or even going back, Florida or Illinois or Kansas State?
Defensively, yes. They play hard, physical man-to-man defense. They press some. They trap some in the half court. They disrupt. Offensively, it's changed a little bit. He's not running what he ran all those years. From Florida all the way through Illinois to Vegas, he ran a couple of sets that were staples that, having watched a couple hours of tape over the last day, he's not running anymore. but he's still playing isolation basketball. His best players get the ball in positions where they can attack one-on-one and try to create for others.
Is there a team that you played this year that Oklahoma reminds you of?
Maybe a little bit like Vegas, very athletic at every position, maybe not quite as big, but athletic and aggressive at every position. They attack to the basket off the dribble. They're extremely aggressive on the offensive glass. And so I'd say athleticism-wise, maybe like a Vegas.
You know, it's funny because I haven't seen, I'd seen in passing some Oklahoma games here or there, because they're on ESPN, part of that Big 12 package that you see all the time. And, I can think of a couple games off the top of my head. I know they blew a big lead against Texas, for instance, one night when I was tuned in and watching. But you go back and you look through their box scores, and I know everybody now, this is the analysis about your team, that teams with big front lines will give the Aztecs problems. And we just saw that with New Mexico on Friday night. They don't come across to me as a really big team across the front. They have one 6'9" guy, they have a 6'8" guy, and then they play three guards. Are they a bigger team than I might be realizing just through box scores? Are they poised to give you that sort of matchup problem the way we have seen over the weekend here with New Mexico?
I don't think their shot blocking is anything like Vegas's or New Mexico's was. When you're talking about 7'1", Alex Kirk from New Mexico, he really changed the game defensively. And then UNLV with Birch in there, he changes the game defensively. I don't think they're like that. They might get a block shot or two occasionally, but I don't think they're the meet you at the rim, dominate the game at the rim type of a team. They'll take some charges. They will block an occasional shot, but I don't think they have the dominant 7-foot center that changes the game from under the rim.
Yeah, boy, I'll tell you, man, you could see the way that was influencing you guys in the second half with Kirk. I mean, I'm sure you had a front row look at it because you're sitting there watching it, but man, that guy changed the game. I mean, it looked like to me Friday night, it seemed like some of your guys were getting a little gun shy going down the lane with him doing his thing.
Hey, when they block enough, you start to worry that the guy's in there, and you start changing the way you attack the basket. You've got to go to the body more instead of just going in to get the shot up. And New Mexico obviously proved themselves to be the class of the league this year, winning the regular season and the postseason title. And the impressive thing with the postseason title is they had to beat Vegas on their home court to get it. And Steve Alford's done a great job. It's a very talented team. And I would be astounded if they don't make a deep run in this tournament.
Yeah, that didn't feel like a home court for Vegas, though. I mean, boy, the way those New Mexico fans showed up, and that's because you guys had a pretty good cheering section there yourselves, but the way the New Mexico fans showed up, man, is it like that every year? That was the first time I'd been to that tournament.
Yeah, it's incredible. Their Wednesday night crowd, they had to have 5,000, 6,000 people there. And I was wondering if anybody in Albuquerque had a job. I was like, how are all these people here in Vegas on a Wednesday? But they follow that team. My God, I was shocked at how many people they had in the stands.
They had more fans there for the championship game than Vegas did. I'd be willing to bet that. I mean, it certainly sounded that way.
I wasn't there firsthand. I just know from our game and the game before that they had huge numbers there. And it makes a difference. It feels like a home game to them from a crowd standpoint.
We're talking to Brian Dutcher at San Diego Sports Leader, the Mighty 1090. One thing I noticed in the game on Friday night, and again, it's a good thing you got plenty of time now to, get everybody into the training room and get across the country and get settled in. One thing I noticed late in the game, X took a pretty hard hit. Xavier Thames took a pretty hard hit, goes to the free throw line, and it seemed like he was trying to shake his back around a little bit there. Did he come out of that game a little beat up?
Yeah, everybody does. I mean, it's a physical game when you're going in there and you're taking those body shots, but he seems to be fine. He's ready to go. We've had 2 days off. Obviously, we've had Saturday and Sunday off, and we'll take the practice floor here in about 45 minutes, and it seems like everybody's in good health as you can be at this time of the year, and ready to go.
Everybody's predicting that this is going to be a wide-open, crazy NCAA tournament. I don't know if we've learned anything from the conference tournaments themselves, but as somebody who is as close to it as you are, do you predict this to be as wild and crazy and unpredictable as so many people think it's going to be?
I don't know how crazy it's been the last couple of years. I mean, it's almost like a staple that somebody's going to get there from a mid-major. You look at Butler having been there twice, VCU getting there. Not so many years ago, George Mason was there. So I'd imagine some of the big boys will be playing, a Louisville or someone like that, but then someone like a VCU, a St. Louis, a New Mexico, someone that will come out of the field and make it to a Final Four. Who knows? Maybe it'll be the Aztecs.
Well, why not? right? I mean, why not? The slate gets wiped clean here this time of year, right? We saw 2 seeds go down last year in the first round of the tournament.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can go down early. If you don't bring your best game, you can go down in a hurry. And honestly, for us, we don't have a great margin of error. We're going to have to shoot the ball very well. We haven't had a real consistent inside attack all year. So for the Aztecs to advance, we're going to have to shoot the 3-ball pretty well over the next week.
And how much time do you spend on Georgetown, and how much time do you spend on Florida Gulf Coast?
It's all right now on Oklahoma. After a day or two, when we feel like we've watched enough tape on Oklahoma, someone will start watching Gulf Coast, someone will start watching Georgetown. But the next 2 days, it will be all Oklahoma for everybody.
Marty was there yesterday. She was telling me that not 15 minutes after the announcement was made and you guys know who you're playing, you know where you're playing, that players had in their hands DVDs of Oklahoma. How does that happen so quickly?
Well, we record a lot of the conference tournaments just in case we meet any of those teams. So we had their Iowa State game. We've had a number of games. And today we have all their games. And so the days of secrets in college basketball are over. Everybody has every game that your opponent plays. And so there are no secrets. It's whether you can stop what they do or not. That's the real key. That
quickly you had that? I mean, Marty said literally it was like 15, 20 minutes that players had DVDs in their hands.
Absolutely. Who knows? In a year from now, they'll be able to pick all those games up on their iPhones. We won't even need to hand them a disc.
But you're probably right. They already do that in baseball where they put it all on their iPads. All these guys have every single at-bat. They can call up every single at-bat from their entire career right there up on their iPods.
It's technology, Darren, and I don't know if it's good or bad, but it's there.
Well, when will you guys travel?
We'll leave out Wednesday and get in there, and I'm looking forward to a cheesesteak. I've never had an official Philly cheesesteak in Philadelphia, so that's first on the list. And and then I'm wondering if there'll be a Philly Billy Warndell sighting, if he's back in Philly and will be attending any of these games.
Well, let me warn you about this now. It's interesting you brought up Philly Billy Warndell. Does he have your cell phone?
No, he doesn't.
Okay, because he has been known to call people, no matter what their level of involvement is, and no matter what the sport is, he has been known to call people requesting tickets.
Well, I know he has your number. So maybe he better call you first.
Well, I told him maybe I'd go out there for the NIT on Tuesday night. I got the Johnnies in St. Joe's. That's a big game for me.
There you go. You can come out and spend a whole basketball week.
I would think so, yeah. I would just say beware of any number calling you from Philadelphia because Warndell is constantly looking for freebies.
We will screen it. We will screen all calls from Philadelphia.
Well, there you go. Well, hey, good luck on Friday night. Do you feel any differently about this opportunity this year than, let's say, you felt last year against NC State?
NC State was a big problem for us because they were so physically gifted inside, and their whole offense was geared to going inside. Oklahoma has bigs, but they're more face-up, attack off the dribble, mid-range shooters. So they'll pose a problem on the offensive glass. But other than that, I think it's a decent matchup for us. We just have to prepare ourselves to take away what they do best and put ourselves in a position to get an NCAA tournament win.
Well, Coach, congratulations on the bid. Thank you very much for the time, and best of luck coming up this weekend.
Thanks, Darren.
Appreciate it. Brian Dutcher, the associate head coach, the head coach in waiting. San Diego State, as they prepare, they'll leave Wednesday, get into town, go get a Philly cheesesteak there, and try to avoid the phone calls from Philly Billy, the 15 Cats, the rum, and the chili.